Hello, friends. Welcome back to another math adventure. If I didn't meet you last week, my name's Mrs. Fithian, and I'm really glad you're here. Today, we're going to help our forest friends solve another problem using math. Have you ever gone on an adventure or a trip and just something happened along the way that took a lot longer to get to your destination or where you were going? Well, that's exactly what's going to happen in our story today. By the end of our lesson, you will understand how addition and subtraction are related, and we're going to be using some number bonds. Let's jump into our story, Forest Friends Building Bridges. One bright morning, full of cheer, 4 dear friends were gathered near. Marvin Mouse, so small and bright, Sally Squirrel, quick and light, Gina Giraffe, so strong and spry, and Robert Rabbit, hopping by. Beside a stream so wide and blue, they had a tricky task to do. They longed to reach the meadow bright, but crossing here just wasn't right. Then Sally Squirrel pointed, "Look, I see a pile of logs, both strong and free. But oh, dear friends, they're not quite right to build a bridge both firm and tight. We need 10 logs in every group to make the bridge safe for our troop." The friends agreed 10 logs will do to cross the stream and make it through. Marvin squealed, "This is our chance. Let's use our minds and take a stance. A number bond can show us how to fix these logs. We'll do it now. One pile has 7. That's not quite 10. How many more? Let's count again." Gina Giraffe stood tall and free and counted slowly, 7 and 3. They gathered three and stacked them high. Now one pile almost reached the sky. Then Robert Rabbit, full of cheer, turned to the pile that seemed unclear. "This one has 3. It needs some more. To make it 10, let's check the score." Sally Squirrel clapped with glee. "We need to add a 7, see?" With both piles set, 10 logs in each, the sturdy bridge was in their reach. They lined them up side by side and built the bridge with beaming pride. The friends stepped back, their work was done. The bridge looked strong, it weighed a ton. But as a deer stepped on to try, the bridge let out a wobbly sigh. Sally Squirrel cried out, "Oh no, please say it isn't so. The bridge is still not quite right. It needs more strength to hold it tight." Marvin thought a moment, then declared, "With teamwork, we won't be scared." Sally Squirrel wove some twigs in place to help the logs hold strong with grace. Gina Giraffe pressed the bridge down flat, so every log stayed right where it sat. Robert Rabbit hopped from end to end, checking spots that should not bend. And Marvin Tiny scurried below to find small gaps that wouldn't show. At last the bridge stood firm and tall. The deer crossed safely, that was all. He gave a nod, then trotted through, and all the friends cheered, "Yahoo!" Marvin grinned, "Now don't you see, we made it work, just you and me. Like number bonds, when parts combine, great things happen, we all shine." Gina Giraffe chuckled, "That's so true. Each of us had a job to do." Sally Squirrel cheered, "And when we share, we solve hard problems everywhere." The end. Wow, what a great adventure for our forest friends. Do you remember what happened? Take a second and see if you can. Where were our friends trying to go? Yeah, they wanted to get to the meadow, but something happened, something unexpected that kept them from getting there. And what was it? Yeah, they came to the stream and they couldn't get across. They needed to build what? A bridge, that's right. And once again, Sally Squirrel pointed out that they needed something to get there. So how many logs did they need to make their bridge sturdy? That's right, they needed 10. So then they spent some time in the story coming up with ways to make 10. Did you see how our forest friends again solved their problem using numbers and math? Today, we're going to do the same thing as we work through putting some numbers together and seeing how a number bond can help just like when all the friends work together. So you may be familiar with a number bond, but if you're not, let's touch base. When we have a number bond, we have two parts and one total. From the story, we had two parts and one total. Marvin Mouse told us that he knew exactly what we needed to make 10 when we got to this part in the story. We know that we want 10 to be our total, and we know we already have 7 as one of our parts. Now, if you were really smart, you used the picture and you counted to see how many more logs we needed. So if we already had 7 and we needed to get to 10, you could have counted on 7, 8, 9, 10. If you didn't catch that, don't worry, because I didn't catch it the first time either. Okay, but what we could do is figure out how many logs we need by using something that I talked about last time. This is a number path or a number line, depending on what you like to call it. From here, we could have started with the number 7, and we could have counted on until we got to 10. Now again, we know 10 is the number we want because they told us in the story 10 is how many logs we need to make the bridge sturdy. So we would start here at 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we would count the number of hops that we took to move down our number line. 1, 2, 3. So we added 3 to our 7 to get 10. And that's exactly what Marvin Mouse told us we were going to do. You may already know that number bonds can help us discover related problems that have the same total but different parts. So we're going to look at that a little more closely. Later in the story, Robert Rabbit saw a pile of logs, and he said we needed 10 and we had 3, but he knew how many more we needed. How did he know that? Well, there's a couple different ways. Again, if you were really smooth, you could have counted them. So we already have 3. You could have seen 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's exactly what we need to get to our total. Or you could have counted what was here and known that it was 7. Or you could pause with me, and we're going to use our number path to figure out exactly how they did that. So again, our total is still 10. That didn't change. But this time, the part that we know we have is 3. So I'm going to go here and circle the 3. And we need to get all the way to 10. So we're going to be making several hops. So I'm going to try to switch sides here. All right, let's make our hops all the way to 10. So we're starting with 3. So say that with me. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now here's the tricky part. We got to our total, but we have to count the number of hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we added 7, or we had 7 hops. So that was our missing number. Give me a thumbs up at home if you got that right. Awesome. Okay. Now I'm wondering if you can help me. I need some math detectives for this problem. Take a second and look, because I'm about to give you a challenge. Now, if you notice, part of this is going to look familiar. This number bond has 2 known parts, the part down here and the part over here. But what is not known this time, or what is unknown, is the total up at the top. So we need to figure that out. What could I do? Oh, yeah, someone at home just said it. We can add these parts together. Now, if you tuned in with me last time, you know I like to solve problems a couple different ways. I like to use my fingers, I like to use toys, and I like to draw pictures. So let's start with our fingers. Okay, so we have 3, so let's hold up 3. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to add 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And how many do I have? Yeah, I have 10. Now I'm going to write this down because this is what I think might be the answer. Okay, so now we have 10. Let's use some toys and see if we can figure it out. I brought my stuffed animals back this time. And let's see. So the first part we had was 3. The second number I needed to add was what? That's right. It was 7. Good listening. All right. So let's count our parts. We have 1, 2, 3. And over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to squish them all together and see what total we come up with. All right. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. That means we did it right the first time. All right, so let's move those guys. And then I told you I also like to draw a picture. So this time let's draw. So I'm going to draw my first part, which was 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to switch colors to make this a little easier to see. So the other part that I had was 7. So let's add 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now if I add the two parts together, 3 plus 7, let's see what I have all together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We did it. All right, all 3 ways that we checked, we got 10. So that means that this number would become a 10. Great job, math detectives. Now, let's clean this up a little bit. And what do you notice about this screen? Take a minute. There's a lot there, but look over it for just a second. Yeah, that's right. I heard a couple different people say, these are the number bonds we've used so far. And you're exactly right. And what do you notice is the same about each of these number bonds? If it makes it a little easier, I can separate them this way. This was one. This was our second one. And this was the third one. Yeah, you guys are doing great. So they all have the same total. So that's here. And the total of all 3 is what? 10. That's exactly right. Then down at the bottom, you'll notice that on this one, we did not know this part, but we knew this was a 7. Over here, we didn't know this part, but we knew this one was a 3. And then when we get to the last one, this is the one we just did, we had our 2 parts and they equaled the total. So can you see how from the story, we had these 2 number bonds, and then this one we did on our own when we put it all together. All 3 of those number bonds are using the same 3 numbers, 10, 7, and 3. So what we said at the beginning is that number bonds help us see related facts. So let's look at this part. This takes it just one step further. You may have already been here in your head, or you may be thinking, Mrs. Fithian, I was not even thinking about that. And that's okay. But I want to show you, if we wrote a math sentence, this is the type of math sentence we could write for each number bond. We start with our total, 10. We take away 7 and find out what's left, which we said was 3. Over in the second one from the story, we started with our total, which was 10. We took away 3. That was the part we knew. And then we were trying to find out what was missing, our other part, which was 7. And then in the last one you just helped me with, we had our 2 parts, 3 and 7. We added them together and we ended up with 10, our total. So great job if you already knew how those were related. If you didn't, you just learned something new. You can kiss your brain. All right. Now, I brought some other toys that I pulled out of my closet, and I have frogs and a log. So we're going to start here and do a math problem with some froggy friends. So let's first count how many frogs we have on this log, and then I'm going to tell you a little story. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're set. So there are 6 frogs on a log, and we just checked, so we know that's right. 2 more frogs jumped on. 1, 2. All right. What just happened in my story? Yeah, I had 6 frogs just hanging out, and 2 more joined the log. Okay, how many frogs are there now? Yeah, I heard a lot of you say 8. Now let's check and make sure we're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 frogs. Now I know that because we just counted, but I also could figure it out by taking my fingers and showing 6 plus 2 more and then counting 8. I also could take time to draw it, which we're not going to do. You could also get a piece of paper and write it down if you needed to, but you did a great job with that one. Now, let's think about this. I'm going to move this guy over. Now I have 8 frogs on a log. Let's count to make sure I didn't make a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we have 8 frogs. 2 frogs get really hot and decide to jump off into the pool. All right, what just happened in my story this time? That's right. I had 8 frogs, 2 hopped off. Now, how many frogs do I have left? Yeah, that was easy, right? I have 6 frogs left. Let's count and make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good job. Let's use our fingers just to double check. We had 8. We took away 2. And how many do we have left? 6. Great job, guys. All right. Did you, math detectives, notice that the 2 frog stories were kind of similar? Similar means the same. How were they the same? How were they similar? Well, yep, they both had frogs. Both of them had frogs. What else? Yeah, in the story, the two frogs is what changed. In the first story, 2 frogs hopped onto the log, and in the second story, 2 frogs hopped off the log. Great job. Okay, we are going to do some more subtraction, but this time we're going to pull everything together. Whoops, there's my frogs. Let's try this. Okay, we're going to pull everything together. We are going to do a subtraction problem. We are going to be using a number bond soon, and we're going to be using another strategy called the read, draw, write strategy. Now, this is my version of the read, draw, write. I like to do a little bit of each. So you'll notice I have a story problem that I'll read to you in a moment. Then we're going to draw a picture because I told you that seeing it helps me. Then we're going to write the number sentence to show how smart we are. And then we'll end up with our answer, okay? But I definitely will need your help. So here is our math problem. 5 bugs are on a leaf. 4 bugs fly on to the leaf. How many bugs are on the leaf now? Okay, it's always a good idea to read your story twice. So that was our first one. Let's listen again. And this time as I listen, I'm going to think if there's anything I can draw to bring my story to life. So 5 bugs are on a leaf. What could I draw? 5 bugs. You're exactly right. So I'm not going to try to draw bugs because this is not an art video. So I'm going to draw 5 circles. 5 bugs are on a leaf. Let's read the next part. 4 bugs fly onto the leaf. 4 bugs fly onto the leaf. Are they leaving or are they joining? Yeah, they're joining. 4 more bugs are coming to the same leaf. So 1, 2, 3, 4. How many bugs are on the leaf now? Do I need to draw anything new for this? I don't think I do. I'm not adding anything else to my leaf, but I want to know how many are there now. How many do I have all together? So I always like to circle to remind my brain that that's what I'm doing. And let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I'm thinking there are 9 bugs on the leaf. I've done the reading. I've done the drawing. Now we need to do the write. For the writing part, we're going to try to make an addition sentence, a math sentence that goes along with our picture. So how many bugs did we start with? Yeah, we had 5. So I'm going to write 5. Then, how many bugs did we have join the first 5? That's right, we had 4. So plus 4. That's showing that we're adding 4 more bugs to what was on the leaf. Then I'm ready for my equal sign, and I'm going to have a sum here in just a moment. And that's going to tell me how many I have left, or how many I have altogether, sorry. So I had 5 plus 4. We already checked that math, and what do I have next? Left? 9. That's how many I have now. Then down at the bottom it says there are blank bugs on the leaf now. That would be 9. Great job, you guys. You just went through a very hard strategy, which is the read, draw, write strategy. It is incredibly helpful, but the first time you go through it, it might be a little much. All right, we're going to try this one more time. Shifting to a subtraction problem so we can see how addition and subtraction are related, and we'll go from there. All right, this time 9 bugs are on a leaf. 4 bugs fly off the leaf. How many bugs are on the leaf now? We're going to pause, and I'm going to double check this. 4 bugs fly off the leaf. Mrs. Fithian has a spelling error, so we're going to fix that. How many bugs are on the leaf now? Okay, so we started with 9. 9 bugs are on a leaf. So what could I draw? That's right, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4 bugs fly off the leaf. So are we adding those bugs or taking them away? That's right, we're taking them away. So we're going to get rid of 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many bugs are on the leaf now? So what do we have left? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have 5 left. Okay, write our sentence. So how many did we start with? 9 bugs on a leaf, and that's how many we started with in our drawing. So I'm going to draw 9. If we're thinking about a number bond, 9 is my total. 9 is what I'm starting with. 4 bugs fly off the leaf, so we're taking away 4. So that is a minus sign. Minus 4 shows that we took some away. And let's find out how many we have left. We counted 5. I see my 5. The answer is 5. So then we're going to fill that in. There are 5 bugs on the leaf now. Everybody take a deep breath. Blow it out. You did great. All right. Before we wrap up for today, I want to tie this all together by showing you how we would put this into a number bond. We talked a little bit at the beginning that a number bond is a part, and a total. Sometimes the total is missing, so we have to add the parts together. Sometimes a part is missing, so we have to use subtraction to help us. So we are going to do one example of this so we can see what happened in our story. All right, so let's go back to our original story. We're going to represent or show the problem using a number bond, okay? So how many bugs did we have to start in our addition problem? We had a certain amount of bugs on a leaf. 5, that's right. We had 5 bugs. I'm going to put it right down here. We had 5 bugs on a leaf. That is a part of our total. Then how many bugs joined on the leaf? That's right, we had 4. We had 4 bugs fly onto the leaf. Now, is 4 our total? No, 4 is what we added to the 5, so the 4 is going to go down here with the 5. All right, those are both our parts. Now, this is the fun part right here. We get to draw those little arms or carrot, whatever you'd like to call them, and then we're going to put our total at the top. Then we did some adding, and we found out that 5 plus 4 was what? That's right, it was a 9. I'm going to put a box around this 9 to show that that's what was unknown. That's what we didn't know when we started the problem, what we were trying to figure out. Now I'm going to switch gears and switch colors to make it a little easier. And now we're going to do the same thing for the subtraction problem. When we switched our story to subtraction, we started with the total number of bugs on the leaf. And that was what? That's right, we had 9. So that's going to go right up here at the top. Then we said that a certain number of bugs flew away. What was it? 4. We had 4 bugs fly away. That was a part. We already knew the total, so we knew that the 4 had to be part of what was there. What we're trying to find now was the missing part. So we used subtraction. We said 9 minus 4, and if you remember, our answer was 5. Boys and girls, I want to thank you so much for doing some math with me today. Now, I will tell you there's one more activity you can do at home, and then I'm signing off. So I brought some buttons today from my collection. Let's see if I can get them all over here to you. So I want you to take a look at my buttons. All right, so this is my collection. What you could do at home with a family member or a friend is get a collection of objects. I think last time I used some spoons. This time I'm using buttons. You could also use socks or shoes. I like to start with 10. It's an easy number for us to practice with. You're going to put 10 objects out. And if it helps, you can put them in order like if they were in a 10 frame. All right, a little easier to see. So I know I have 10. Then what you're going to do is you're going to separate them into 2 groups. So here I go. Here's my 2 groups. Now I would need a piece of paper if I were at home. Because I'm not at home, I'll use my board. What you would do now is try to tell someone in your family what you just did. You took your group of 10 and you divided it into 2 groups. So what was your total? That's right, it was 10. Now, I'm going to break it into my 2 parts. Let's count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one of our parts would be 6. The other part would be what? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Okay? You can do this over and over again by taking your group, splitting it into 2, and coming up with the number bond. If you want to challenge yourself or really impress the people that you're showing this to, you could even write a sentence. I could say 6 plus 4 equals 10. I could say 10 minus 6 equals 4, and so on and so on. All right? So thank you so much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun. Don't forget to practice at home, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friends.